Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Thursday, December 11th, 2025, Tucson Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting called to order at 1:03 p.m. And I'll do roll call. Terry Majewski is here. Andrew Christopher.
Here.
Blake Houghton. Not yet. Joel Ireland.
Here.
And Savannah McDonald.
Here.
Great, thank you. And we have a quorum. I just want to apologize to our applicants and to fellow PRS members that I'm going to stay with my camera off so as not to disrupt my bandwidth. So item 2 is review and approval of the 11/18/2025 legal action report / minutes. Could I have a motion to approve as submitted, please?
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have Andrew moving and Joel seconding. Any discussion? If not, I'll call roll. Terry votes aye. Andrew?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Great. And that passes unanimously 4-0. And we'll move on to item 3, summary of public comments. Desiree, were any received by the posted deadline?
I did not receive any public comments. Jason or Michael, did you all receive any?
Not received any, and I just checked the inbox.
I didn't receive any either.
Okay,
Great,
thank you. And Commissioner Houghton is joined at 1:04.
Perfect. Okay. Before I begin, let me just welcome Commissioner Houghton to PRS. And probably, Blake, the best thing, you've listened in on some meetings before, so you know the drill. But basically, we go through the presentation with the applicant, and then I ask everyone for questions. So that kind of moves things along.
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
quickly. Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank
Terry.
you so
Sorry I was late.
Oh, that's okay. No worries. Okay. So item 4 is historic landmark nomination review, and we do this under UDC section 5.8.5. We don't do these all that frequently. So our first one, 4A, is for 255 West Alameda Street. It's Tucson City Hall. And there's a little summary there. And I'm going to turn this over to Jason Lilienthal for a brief update and explain also to the group, Jason, what we need to do. You say here that we can recommend approval with conditions and so on, but you let us know what you're expecting from us. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. All right, good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. As Chair Majewski said, this is the Tucson City Hall at 255 West Alameda Street. This was first submitted in January 2017. Then in December 2023, the Arizona SHPA reviewed and determined that it is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. That has come to the City of Tucson Planning Department, and on November 5th of this year, Mayor and Council initiated the nomination. As such, as a city-sponsored nomination per UDC Section 5.85, standards for establishing and amending 8 historic landmarks. It is eligible under 2 criteria: Criterion A, politics and government, and C, architecture. Under Criterion A is the association with Tucson political history. Tucson City Hall was built between 1961 and 1966. This is the third and only remaining City Hall building, and was the first new civic building. All right, let me also start scrolling down. There we go. It was the first new civic building erected downtown during the urban renewal era. This predates the Pueblo Center redevelopment project approved by voters in 1966. Under Criterion C, this is built by the local architect Bernard Freeman of the firm Freeman and Jobush, if I mentioned that correctly. It is designed in the brutalist architectural style. One of its character-defining features is that it has cast concrete construction with steel beam framework, anodized metal copper. Its fenestration is recessed with overhangs as to provide shading from direct sunlight. Also, part of its features is there is on the 10th floor, you can see that here, as well as on the 2nd floor, there's decorative screen of gold anodized aluminum rings. There's arranged in a geometric grid. And one of the, what I want to say here, the design reflects its Sonoran desert climate with desert color tones. So this concludes the presentation. So as Chair Majewski was mentioning, one of the things that we're looking for is a recommendation from the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee. And the recommendation you give, whether it's approval with conditions, or denial. And if it's approval, we will take to the planning director, and then there'll be an official letter of notification. And then from there, we go through the process. I can speak to the process if the commission would like to hear that.
Sorry, I was on mute. Would that be helpful to hear a little bit about the process? Does anyone want that, or are they familiar with it?
This is Joe. I'd like to hear just a touch. Yeah.
Okay. So I had mentioned it had already been initiated by mayor and council, and staff has reviewed the nomination and is now here before you. So after this, if your recommendation is approval or approval with conditions, we will take it to the planning director, make a formal notification. Then staff will need to go to the rezoning pre-submittal meeting, and that's where they set up a future meeting to be held, at which point there will be a neighborhood public meeting. And there, prior to the neighborhood public meeting, property owners will be notified within 400 feet by United States Postal Service mail, and the neighborhood associations will be notified within 1 mile of the property. After that public meeting, if it moves forward, then it is submitted for a historic landmark rezoning application. And then after the application, it goes before the zoning examiner for a public hearing and a recommendation. And after that, the recommendation is to move forward. Then it goes to mayor and council for final decision.
Okay, did Jason?
Thank you.
Go ahead. When staff reviewed this, did you have any issues with it?
I did not, Desiree.
No, thought it was good. We did put it into the inventory format. It was kind of in a different format. We added some photographs, added a little bit more information, added some like a few newspaper article clippings, but the content itself was good, sufficient for the landmark designation.
Right, and this is, yeah, go ahead.
If there are any comments that you all have, though, we can definitely look to, I think there's time to make some edits if there are any particular, any of the character defining features that are mentioned. Right? This inventory form will be a tool for us in the future, right, as applications come through. So we will be looking to this, in the future. So I think looking at the property description and the architectural and the elements that are discussed would be helpful. And one other thing that I wanted to mention, mayor and council directive was to focus on the exterior of the building. And so we do document the interior, significant public interior spaces in the inventory form, but the final ordinance that will get adopted by them will most likely only pertain to the exterior. So that's something I wanted to mention. That's the direction that we were given.
Right. So you did you put it in the HPIF format, and then but there is also, this would be for a city landmark, right? That's what we're doing.
Right. And for the UDC, there are different, we can either accept a National Register nomination or an inventory form for the local designation.
But it needs to be, was that changed up? Because it used to be that it had to be a nominated property, or does it just need to be an eligible property?
That is a good question. I have the ordinance here in front of me. Let me take a look at that.
And I do want to acknowledge the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation, who originally submitted the application. Jason may have mentioned that, I'm not sure, but they submitted, they wrote the initial application. And so the inventory form really is based on their work with just some, minor things added.
And to your question, the ordinance says which are individually listed or are eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places at the local, state, or national level of significance. And this is at the local significance.
But do we have a DOE on it yet? We do? From SHPO?
Yes, there is.
SHPO on December 2023 said that it determines eligible.
Okay, I just wanted to get that in there for the record. And so for those people who don't know, what does it mean if this becomes a Tucson landmark, like for the property itself? Just so that that's on the table.
Sure, I can answer that. So essentially this becomes a local landmark, which is an overlay, a zoning overlay. So the underlying zoning would not change, but this historic landmark zoning overlay would be added on top of that. And so any future development projects, proposed building alterations, again, focus on the exterior, would come through the Historic Preservation Office for review. And so that would be subject to the review standards as outlined in the Unified Development Code 5.8.9. So because this is not in a historic preservation zone, it's just an individual landmark outside of that zone, any type of zone, the review body would be PRS, so this review body. And then any recommendation on those proposed alterations would be given to the PDSD director, who ultimately makes that decision. And those decisions are appealable to mayor and council. So essentially it provides some, there's also, protection against demolition, right? They're pretty, there's a specific process outlined for historic landmarks that are proposed for demolition. So if in the future, let's say this building, for whatever reason, was proposed for demolition, it would have to go through a process that ends at the mayor and council, requires mayor and council approval before it can be demolished.
Right. And basically, I mean, the city initiated the nomination. I mean, the mayor and council did. So it's not likely that the city will say that it doesn't want to have it, correct? So this is a little bit more unusual, but we've had some private properties that have gone on and basically with the consent of the owner, correct?
Yes, generally we look for owner consent for historic landmarks.
And when things haven't gone through, it's been because they didn't want to do it. So we had that with Campus Farms, I believe. So, okay, let's go around the table. Who has questions? Who wants to start? Savannah?
Yeah, sure. I have a number of comments. I guess my first question was, if it was originally put together in 2017, why the big 6-year gap? I was just mostly curious.
Savannah, this is Jason. I honestly do not know the answer to that. I don't think it came through in any of the communiques. Unless Desiree, do you heard anything in the wind?
I am also not sure why. I don't know. Maybe there just wasn't support at the time. It is a city building and, potentially wasn't the political backing. Not sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I read through it thoroughly. I felt like there were just a few. You had asked us a while ago to look at the character defining features, and so I was thinking that some of them are a little bit missed or maybe just not described enough. And one of them is there's like I think they're concrete panels on the first floor. I don't even know what they are because there's an image of them, but there's no description of them. And I think they're pretty special, pretty unique. It looks like cast concrete, like veneer or something like that. it's with and also the colonnade of the first floor, I think, is pretty significant. That wraps around. That's mentioned a little bit, but not as a prominent feature, which I think it also really is. Um, and then just the way I think within like the cover sheet, or yeah, like the second page, when windows are described, they're just glass windows. So I think just a little more specificity there. I actually marked it up a little bit. I could always share it with you, but I think like saying aluminum framed windows, um, especially and I think they're almost full height at levels 2 and 10, right? Where the screen is. And I think that's pretty significant, those two levels being bigger openings of those, more full height storefronts. It actually looks like the seventh level, at the second level, they've infilled some of those panels or kind of like put some sort of film on the window to block the sun a little bit more. But I think on the second and the 10 levels, yeah, level 10, I think that's what's happening. And then I think it's a copper panel, like between like a spandrel panel. So I think that should be mentioned under wall sheathing. Those copper spandrels are pretty cool too. I think that's what they are. There was like another like little snip maybe in an article that mentioned it. I can't quite tell, but I've walked by this building a bunch from afar and never really paid close attention. But looking through this, reading through this, I feel like I appreciate a lot of those elements. So that was my take.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and that's one thing I do think I want to add is some more photos and like details of the first floor. I think we have a lot of photos of the tower.
Mhm.
So that will
Do you guys know what
Yeah.
those? Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it. It looks like concrete panels or something, and sort of a running bond on that first floor. Are those?
They're talking
What
about
are?
these right here, where the
Yeah,
cursor is. That's a good question. I wouldn't know the answer myself.
yeah, and then the fact that um the openings too, that it's like a clear story band above it. I think
Mhm.
that's pretty important too. So the windows kind of, depending on which level they're on, they have sort of a method, a strategy that's
Mhm.
I think would be somehow nice to be described a little bit more.
Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you, Savannah.
Sure.
Who would like to go next?
I can go. Yeah, I generally agree with Savannah's comments. I think that the the portico around the perimeter is uh not really emphasized enough in the nomination, but that's such a critical part of it, especially as like a city hall, a public building, that's like the interface with the city is that portico. And I think that's a huge design effort in it too, is you can approach it from any side. So
Mhm.
uh yeah, but yeah, all Savannah's comments I'll echo. I did have one question on the UDC language around this. So I know it's mayor and council's wish that we're just landmarking the exterior, but I'm not clear how that it seems to conflict with the verbiage in UDC because it says any alterations to the interior of a publicly owned historic landmark shall be reviewed. So would the zoning ordinance for this, would that somehow override this requirement in UDC, or how does that get sorted?
Yes, I think that is a very good question and something we'll have to kind of discuss with the city attorney's office, knowing that's the direction they want to go. I haven't discussed that yet, so I don't know at this moment, but I can let you all know, provide an update once we find out more.
And
Okay.
Andrew, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you read that ordinance, was it in 5.8.8 design review required?
It's in 5.8.9,
Okay.
section A.1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just curious. There's, I'm really familiar with the building, but there's a lot of parts I hadn't seen on the interior, and it was really cool to see a lot of those pictures in the form. I really I appreciate that it's being documented, even if we don't ultimately, end up protecting it. But there's some really cool like 60s, almost like space AG stuff going on, which you don't expect, which is it's pretty cool.
Like the Jetsons, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. So, but I get it. I mean, the building feels really dated, so hopefully, any interior improvements going forward are sensitive to kind of the key elements of the interiors. But yeah. So I think that's really the only comments I had.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Terry, this is Joel.
Go ahead.
Uh, Good eye, Andrew. And I agree with Savannah's comments too. It did strike me as curious, the comment that we're just looking at the outside on this, although I didn't have the technical knowledge that Andrew had. But so I kind of, I very much, like Andrew, would like to have that interface addressed also. And then I generally agree with all the comments that have been made.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Blake, did you have anything to add?
No, I, this is my first PRS meeting, first real run through, and um, joining this was a little chaotic for me. So I think all of the comments that have been made are good, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. I think what we should do for a motion is, so, I mean, what is the schedule on this, Desiree and Jason? If we continued it, you've heard our comments and all that, but I think our main area of concern is the interior. And we've had this before. There was a property that the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation brought forward. It was one of those really interesting mid-century modern houses that had a big glass exterior. Do you remember? Are you familiar with that? It was before your time with the city, Desiree, but there was concern about interior modifications, but it was so critical. The whole interior worked with the exterior, right? And this is not quite the same thing. I don't think so. How do you feel about that? About waiting until you get clarification, or how do we structure a motion that would say, we recommend moving forward with it, approval moving forward, but with the comments that we've brought up and edits to the form, and also some level of attention has to be given to the interior, but I'm not sure how we say that.
Yes, I mean, I think PRS, it's within your realm to, provide any comments that you would like related to the interior. And, it'll work its way through the process, right? Ultimately, it is a mayor and council decision, but if you want to recommend anything about the interior, you certainly can. And then, just for informational purposes, I can provide an update once we get clarity on how it would be handled in the UDC, unless you feel like that information is necessary for you all to make your recommendation, then you can continue it. But I don't know if it's, yeah.
I mean, if we could frame it, I mean, what do you think, commissioners? I mean, do you think we can just frame it to cover those points?
I think so.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, my fear of like pushing back too hard on the interior portion is that mayor and council may say like, nah,
No.
yeah, and then just not not list it. Um, the I think in tandem with that, the other kind of thing I'd want clarity on too is where does that boundary of the exterior start and stop? Because the way the portico is designed and it has, steps that I think are integral to the portico and some like hardscape elements. There's a really blurry line between what's the outside of this building properly and like the greater civic plaza around it. But I don't know. It doesn't talk too much really about like the greater plaza, but there is an integration there. So I'd want to be clear on the boundary, I guess. You know what I mean?
It, yeah, and to that point, I think Desiree had asked us, and I'm not sure I thought about it quite enough yet, was the landscape around it too, right? You wanted us to
Yeah, I
consider.
think the exterior, the first floor exterior, and exactly what Andrew was talking about, kind of those
Mhm.
landscape, hardscape might be the better way to describe it. But those kind of elements are like the steps that lead up to City Hall, right? Like those types of things. Um, I think we can certainly capture in photographs. But if there are any thoughts that you all had about specific features to call out, and kind of that landscaping or hardscape surrounding City Hall, I think we could also
I feel like
add if.
we could go on a site visit or something, just walk around. I mean, I don't know if
Mhm.
the boundary that's highlighted here captures everything that we possibly might want to include, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the
This
parcel boundary.
okay.
Um,
this line of questioning hits on something that is um, near and dear to my heart, right? Professionally, where does the building stop, and where does the landscape stop? And I think that focusing on, particularly because so much of that plaza is hardscape, focusing on elements that were part of the original approach to the building instantly become parts of the landscape that need to be included and documented. Um, right, at least in terms of um, ensuring what is the word that I want? I was not prepared for this for this meeting. Um, um, the It'll come to me later, and that's
yeah,
going to drive me nuts because it'll be in the middle of the night. Um,
yeah.
that essential quality is, the word that I'm wanting, that
Mhm.
makes it um, historically significant. Um,
Like a character defining feature.
yeah, that character defining features. Um, but I think, because the plazas are in and of themselves, um, you know, designed spaces. And do we know what the relationship between the plaza and the building was? Or apart from like what it is now, was the plaza designed and then installed around the building as a result of that? Was it designed by Friedman and Joe Bush? Was it, you know what I'm getting at?
Hmm.
Um, like
Yeah,
there's a certain part of this where some of this could be included because it was designed right by them, or included, as a future. There's that's a whole bunch, because
mhm.
landscape and where we cut that line becomes very complicated.
Yes. And we've requested from the microfiche of all the permits that we have to see if we can get a hold of the original design. I don't have it. We don't have that currently. But if once we get that, it might give us some more answers. But we can certainly try to do a little bit more research, see if we have photographs that could tell us. But my sense is that at least the there's not a ton of landscape right around it, but my sense is that it was part of the original design. I don't know how much of it has changed, if at all.
I mean,
And the original,
okay.
Terry, this is Joel.
And
I- I'm agreeing with this whole discussion, and one way to approach it might be that we recommend it move forward uh, with a couple caveats, so long as we're in compliance with the provision of the UDC that Andrew pointed out, and and there are clarifying definitions of the interface with the original appearance of the hardscape and approach to the building, or something like that. I can't form the motion, but that's just maybe one approach. That's all.
Thanks. Well, I think was that you, Savannah, or was it
Oh,
Andrew?
I was just on the previous comment, and I know because I've done the HL before with a very specific boundary, like 5 feet off this wall, include the yard of the street that, kind of like fine tuning more around the building to capture within the HL. So it seems like that might be a more comprehensive approach.
Mhm.
So do we feel like we can craft a motion with all those caveats? Or do we need to continue it? So it would be either you or Andrew, or you putting your heads together on the motion with us weighing in.
Is there like real pressing urgency on this, Desiree, from mayor and council?
I don't think there's urgency for mayor and council. I know the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation, would like to see it move forward. Also, the rezoning process can be like a 6 to 8 month process. So that's just to keep kind of the overall timeline in mind. But I'm not sure that if continuing it would severely like delay. Your next meeting is January 8th. So I don't, that's that's a
Okay.
month away.
Yeah. I think in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of time added to it. And as long as they don't have like a big like ceremony or something planned on a specific date that we're gonna blow, then
No.
yeah. That's my feeling. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I would probably want to just continue it, and then when it comes back, I'd want to see, um, you know, how the UDC issue is going to be addressed via the ordinance, and then um, a clear definition and justification for the boundary.
Right, and then maybe you will get some more. You said you ordered from the microfiche for that exterior, correct? And the permits and stuff that might give us I think that would be useful. And, I hate to push back so much on you, Desiree, but, and please reassure the foundation that we just want it to be as tight as possible and take into account, how to deal with that interior issue,
Mhm.
And I think that
Yeah.
they would understand it and appreciate putting it together and so forth, and that we came up with some other good character defining features
Mhm.
and so on. So I think we need a motion to continue, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
So who would like to do that?
I can do it. Do I need to put all of that in the motion, or I can just say with the additional documentation as discussed, since it's probably mostly in.
Well, yeah, and then just say, in the matter of the HL nomination for this, that we move to continue the discussion or whatever to a future meeting, to blank, to provide more information on questions raised during the meeting or something. And that'll all be in the, or how specific do you want it, Desiree?
That works. We have notes on the various comments made. So
Yeah.
Do
So
we
go ahead,
do
Andrew.
so
Go
do we
ahead.
want to say anything about how, like, our general opinion is that we are supportive of it? Just that we want this extra documentation, or should we just keep it?
That's up to Andrew. I mean, I think that's
Okay.
fine to say that we're continuing so that the nomination can be strengthened or something like that.
Yeah.
This already good, this already solid nomination can be strengthened, something like that. You ready, sir? Andrew's falling off the.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna keep it simple. So all right. On the matter of how do I state the name of it? Because we don't have a activity number.
It's
Um,
historic
okay.
landmark nomination for 255 was blah blah blah.
Okay. All right. On the matter of the historic landmark nomination review at 255 West Alameda Street, Tucson City Hall, I recommend continuing the item to a future meeting so that more information can be provided on the questions raised during our discussion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, if not, Terry votes aye. Andrew?
Okay.
Blake?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Great, so it passes unanimously, and Andrew, email that to us so we have that. And I think that's smart. So thanks for all the preparation, Desiree, you and your staff did, so that we can move this forward at
Yeah.
some point soon.
Thank you all for your comments. And if commissioners would like to do a site visit, as long as there's not quorum, could, one or two, I would be happy to arrange that or, attend with you all.
Okay.
If
All right.
if there's a quorum, then we need to agendize it.
All you do is just have to agendize it.
Yes.
Item 5 is historic preservation zone review cases that we review under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0 Historic District Design Guidelines and Revised Secretary of the Interior Standards and Guidelines. Case 5A is SD 1025-00158/TCRES 0725-03553 at 330 East 13th Street. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Michael Taku for background, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. The project before you let me make sure the applicant is here today.
I'm here, Michael.
Okay. So we'll make you the co-host when I finish with my presentation. So the project before you, members of the subcommittee, is basically they ask for an extension of an existing patio cover on this property, which is on the west elevation, which is a new that you see on the west elevation. The site plan shows a new infill roof, and the keynote also referred to a build-up roof. This roof extension and the build-up roof during the review by Army Park was really not discussed at length. So staff reached out to the applicant for clarification on the part of the roof extension, which is the infill. And this infill is between the existing main house and the storage building, which shows up on the new rail south elevation. The applicant clarified that they will also be seeking approval. In addition to the patio cover, they'll also be seeking approval for the roof extension. So staff is requesting that when you discuss and you want to make your motion, can you please add the roof extension as part of your motion? Also, the site plan before you, it shows post footings for future patio cover. Again, this was not discussed in depth at the Armory Park meeting, and staff reached out to the applicant with two options: either to cloud it and just say the footings which is there for the future patio cover is not part of this review, or to just take it out of the site plan, because we do not approve things in anticipation. The response from the applicant was that the post footing for the future patio cover will have to be removed from the plans. So staff is also suggesting that that should be part of your motion. Armory Park reviewed this project on November 18, 2025, and recommended approval as presented with a vote of 5-0. If there is any question for staff, I would like to answer. If not, I'll turn it to the applicant who will present the project before you.
Thank you, Michael. Before we turn this over, can everyone still hear me? I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'd like for everyone to put their name, their full name in the chat and which case they're affiliated with and what they are. So and so is 5A, case 5A, and they're an architect with such and such firm. Does that make sense? Or if you're the owner of a property or so on. So do you already have some of this or very little of it, Desiree and Jason, for your notes?
I think I have most. There is someone, J. O'Neill 1. I'm not sure what the first and last name is.
Yeah.
For this particular project is going to be presented by the property owner, Luis Espaza.
Okay.
And Luis, you are the co-host, and so you can share your screen and do the same presentation like you did in Hamri Park.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Good afternoon. I'm Luis Esparza. I'm the owner of 330 East 13th Street.
We need to see your presentation. It's not coming up yet.
Okay. My apologies.
I don't know.
I apologize. I'm having some issues
Sure.
sharing the screen.
That's okay. Michael, are you able to share? If not, I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can proceed to share. I'm still looking for them right now. I didn't open that page.
Okay. I just will need 1 minute. Okay, this is the correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, this is project SD 1025-00158 at 330 East 13th Street. We're part of the Armory Park Historic District. We first submitted in July of 2025. And due to some requests, we submitted to the Armory Park Neighborhood Historic Association for review in November of this year. The project is basically a extension of our patio to cover our barbecue area and just provide extra shade. And part of that is extension of the current patio cover and the infill that Mr. Taku referred to. As you can see on the screen that she's sharing right now, the part that's infill is basically 5 foot by, oh, excuse me, 9 foot by about 15 foot area that runs east-west and a 5 by 18-foot area that runs north-south between the existing house and the existing storage area. We agreed that the posts for the future patio will be removed from the plans so that all that is being presented is the current work shown on the plans that were already submitted.
Any questions?
That's basically the project. Are there any questions from the committee?
Okay, let's go ahead and start. Who would like to begin?
I can. I mean, my initial question, it's page 16, west elevation new. That's actually, it's looking west, right?
That's looking west, yes.
Okay. So the materials configuration, even the detail
Right
at the
there,
top
right
of the
there.
beam.
We go it's one above that. There you go.
So that's actually, yeah, looking west. So we see the extended version. So all of that is intended to match the same, basically what the design that you have existing. Is that right?
Yes, it's exactly the same as what we have now.
Okay. And then Michael mentioned a new roof on the actual sort of west side of the house that you might see from, is it Railroad Avenue? Do you have a elevation of what that will look like and what that will be if we're going to add that to our review?
The only thing, if you go to the photos of the east view, right there. Okay, right above in between the two buildings, you have that little arch. The only
Yeah.
thing that would be visible would be a beam behind that arch. That's just to allow drainage onto the roof of the existing storage area.
Okay. But you don't think it wouldn't be, it'd be low enough, it wouldn't be visible from the street?
This is from the alley from
In
Railroad
the
Avenue,
back,
Yeah.
it's in
but
the back.
the beam would be visible.
So Railroad Avenue, that's an alley you said?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I think that's, I mean, I see no real issue. I think that's not covered in the documentation currently, but I don't have any, I don't see any problems with it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Savannah.
Yeah.
Andrew?
And that would be the only part of this project that's visible from Railroad or from 13th Avenue.
Right. Okay. And actually, if we're adding can you go over are we adding the post footings to this review, or what's the intention there? You want to extend it even more in the
No,
future?
they said they wanted to take it, they want to remove it from the site plan. They're not doing that right
Oh,
now.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Andrew?
Yeah. My the one comment I have on sheet A 1.0, on it's titled section CC. Um, is that a I guess I wasn't clear. Where is that section being cut, or is that just a typical section through the new patio cover?
Let me see.
Oh, I see it. Up, okay, it's up.
Right at
Oh,
the
yeah, at the top.
joint. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure because it's showing like the low end overhang as that shaped rafter tail profile, but on the high end, it's just showing like a flush cut joist. So I just want to make sure we would have the same overhang condition on both sides. Um,
Okay,
yeah.
the post on the left that shows the flush cut is where it extends from the connection on the current storage area uh, to the other end, and that was just a continuation of that rafter.
Okay. So in the other conditions, like if you were to slide that section line down where we don't have an adjacent building on that end, would you treat both overhangs the same then?
We had left it that way partly because there's a patio to the left and there's a tree. But for the rafters that stick out, as it's drawn, that's how it was typical. But if that's something that needs to be taken care of, that could be added.
Okay. think that'd be my only thing, because that would be visible from railroad, right? That
Actually, it would not.
no, okay.
No.
Maybe I'm not understanding on the plan then, like which adjacent walls are full height and which are patio walls then.
Okay, for section CC, if you go to page 3. That section CC is the new extension that's outlined in that rectangle. To the west of that is a patio that a courtyard for the guest house. The only part that would be visible is just above that. The part that's marked for new infill roofing.
I see. So the walls for the areas labeled existing, or the area labeled existing patio, is that like a full height wall?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's about
I
a
see.
12-foot wall.
Okay, I wasn't understanding that then. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm good then.
I
Okay.
agree. That would be nice. I mean, just architecturally, right? To have that fun
Yeah.
little detail at the end.
Yeah, I think anywhere where it's not butting up against like a wall or a building, that all the overhangs should be treated that same way with the shaped tails. But yeah.
Well, that can certainly be an emotion if you wish.
Mhm.
Blake, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good on this one.
Okay, Joel?
Uh, no, except I follow Andrew and Savannah's comments, but yeah, otherwise look good.
Great, thank you. So who's wanting to make the motion on this one with these details that you've been discussing?
I can do it. For me, one sec to write it out, because we're gonna kick the future pier footings out, and then so how do we want to address what is it, the roof extension?
Like an infill roof is what it was labeled as, right? On the
Yes.
site plan.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll just say that the infill roof is approved as presented. Okay.
Okay. Still ruminating, Andrew?
Just finished typing it up. All right.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. All right. On the matter of SD 1025000158 TCRES 0725035553 at 330 East 13th Street, I recommend approval of the project as presented with the following conditions. One, that all exposed rafter tails are to have a shaped profile to match the existing construction. Two, that the infill roof is acceptable as presented. And three, that the future pier footings are to be removed from the plans.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, that's Joel.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there discussion? Okay, if not, Terry votes aye. Andrew?
Aye.
Blake?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Great,
And
thank
Terry,
you.
as I told you in the chat room, Mrs. Joel, I'm going to have to go from the meeting now. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I think you have an appointment or something. Yeah, you're
Right.
busy. Okay, thank you very much. And
Okay,
so we lost Joel at 1:58. That's 1:58 left meeting. Okay, so now we are going to move on to item 5B,
okay.
which
Thank
is,
you.
oh, but let me first ask, do you have any questions, Mr. Sparsa, for Michael or
What's the next
the
one?
Historic Preservation Office? Are you good to go?
The only question is the next step in the process. We'll make those changes to the plans and then basically resubmit them. Is that the only thing left to do?
Yes, so your next step would be you make the changes that you hear today. Impact had no changes for you to make, so you will just make the changes that you hear today, the 3 changes that they have reported to you, and then you resubmit the plans. Once you resubmit, you let me know, and then we're going to generate an approval letter which will be reviewed and signed by the director. That approval letter will be sent to you. You will join that approval letter as part of your permitting process. And then you proceed to the permitting for whatever thing you want to do. So that's what
Okay.
you need to do. So for your part, make sure you revise the plans. Let me know when you have resubmitted the plans. We would review it in our office for completeness. If they match and they are consistent with what has been said today, we'll generate an approval letter. Once the director signs, we'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you so much. And thanks for the committee for taking the time to review this.
Sure, good luck with your project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if you have any problems anytime, please feel free to contact us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Taku.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's move on to item 5B then, which is SD 1224-00130 / TC-RES-1024-06170 /CE-VI 0724-02855. This is at 833 North 4th Avenue. And this case is one of Michael's again. Go ahead and give us some background, Michael.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. This is a project that has 2 units. You have the contributing property, which is unit 1. It's in front of the property. And the subject property today, which is the subject of this discussion, is unit 2, which is in the rear of the property. That property is non-contributing. And as you see, it is a case of zoning violation because inappropriate windows were installed on that unit 2. On the east and the west elevations, on the east elevation, you will see that there were about 6 windows that are installed. They are vinyl windows, which are not allowed by West University design guideline. And then on the west elevation, there are also 3 windows that are installed. All of them were vinyl windows. And so there was a case of zoning violation for those inappropriate windows and some stucco work that was done on this property. On the agenda, you will see we mentioned the door, but the discussion today will not have anything to do with the door because the applicants are not changing the door or doing anything to the door at all. So it is just windows. So what they have done, and they are proposing before you, just like they did before West University, is to replace all these inappropriate vinyl windows with appropriate wood windows on the both east and the west elevations. The new proposed windows, they are not enlarging the sizes. They are just going to fit into the original size of the windows as they were before. They're just taking out the vinyl and replacing it with wood windows. On the stucco, they are proposing to patch and repair as needed on the walls, which will match the existing texture as it was, with a lime-based finish. West University reviewed this application on November 12th, and recommended approval as presented with a vote of 5-0. Matt is here representing his father, who is a property owner, and he will be the one to do the presentation as he did in West University. If there's any question for this project from the subcommittee, I would like to answer. If not, we'll turn it over to Matt to do the presentation for you.
Anyone have a question, or can the applicant begin?
Nope, I'm good.
Right. So, okay, and the applicant is there.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
Mark?
here. Yes, I'm Mark. I'm representing my father. He's the owner of the property. Am I able to
Matt,
share
you're the
my screen?
co-host. You can share your screen. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Because I
Sure.
didn't see that you had answered in the chat, but you may have, and I wasn't checking. Okay. So
I didn't answer. I don't know how to use Zoom that well, so I didn't know what to do.
no, this is cool.
Sorry.
We've got the
Oh.
answer we need, so go for it.
Okay. Is the screen shared right now?
It's coming up.
It's coming.
Yep,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay, so I'll start with showing. This is the back structure that's in question, and that's what the application is for. And like Mr. Taku said, we're proposing to replace the wrongfully installed vinyl windows. I think it's important to mention that my father inherited this violation when he purchased the property. I just think it's important to know.
Thank you.
So this is the east elevation, and all these 6 windows are going to be replaced with single hung wood windows, same exact size, and the color of these windows will be the same exact color as the front structure, which is brown. And we're also proposing to do any stucco patches or repair to match the existing color and texture. And on the south and the north sides, there are no windows, but we're also proposing to do any stucco patches or repairs to match the color and the texture. Apologies. And then goes to the west elevation. We'll also be replacing all the windows and with single hung wood windows, and also any stucco repairs or patches to match the existing colors and texture. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mark. Who would like to begin with questions?
I can start.
Okay.
I think although the windows look fine to me, if everything's matching the opening sizes and you're using wood, I don't see any issues. I just was looking at the code violation, and it did mention mechanical work. I don't know if that's true or not, but is there any mechanical equipment that's been changed on the outside that'd be visible?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. Great. Yeah, this looks
Mechanical work was done on the building in front, not on the second building. And that was resolved as a minor review.
Perfect.
For Unit 1, which is a contributing property.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you, Michael. All right. Yeah, this looks good to me.
Okay, who's next?
I'll go. I mean, I think it looks fine as well. I have no issue. I just, wood doesn't last super long, as lovely as it is. So as long as the applicant is aware that they have, metal clad wood options that would be approved as well if they want something longer lasting. But just making sure that's known.
Thank you.
For West
Especially because it's all in the east and the west. What's that?
For West University, the clad is fine, right?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Yes, they would accept wood clad on secondary buildings, not on the primary.
Right. Right.
So this one is a secondary building. So if they choose to do wood clad here, they can do it.
Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
I'll tell my father. Thank you.
And we
Gives
can
you more
put that,
options and it might last longer, right? Or it will last longer.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
put that in the motion too, that they have the option, don't you think?
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Anything
you.
else, Savannah?
No, looks good. Thank you.
Okay, Blake?
I've got nothing to add on this one. You know, I'm sorry that you guys had to deal with this. This is something I see fairly common with landscape work, and I applaud you guys for being the ones that tackle it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
And I have to mention one thing. It's if not for Mr. Taku, honestly, we would have been lost. So I want to thank him again for all his help over the past year.
Well, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's always nice to hear, Mark, when you mention that to staff. Okay, so if we are ready for a motion, I would entertain one.
I can do it this time.
Okay.
And it looks like the West University, they approved it as well,
They did.
right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to. On the matter of SD-122-4-06170/CE-VIO 0724-02855 at 833 North 4th Avenue. I move to recommend approval of the project as presented, including approval of the owner's option of installing metal-clad wood windows that would be acceptable in secondary structures in West University.
Great. Is there a second for that motion?
This is
Second.
Blake. I'll second.
We'll let Blake have a turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so is there discussion? Okay, if not, Terry votes aye. Blake,
Aye.
Savannah,
Aye.
and Andrew.
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously 4-0 with not with Joel included because he's left the meeting. So perfect. All right. So do you know the way to go forward on this, Mark?
Just call me. Just call me.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so
It'd
much.
be easier. Good luck
Yeah.
with the project and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. Have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you, man.
Bye. Okay, now we'll move on to item 6, which is we have a courtesy review. 6A is 900 South Randolph Parkway. It's for the Outdoor Performance Center at Reed Park. So, Desiree is the staff contact on this one. And I believe we have the applicant, Joe O'Neill is from Parks and Rec, I believe, and he will probably be presenting, maybe, I don't know. So go ahead, Desiree.
Okay, yes. So yeah, we have a couple presenters here today, but just a little background. So the Outdoor Performance Center at Gene C. Reed Park is identified in Proposition 407 for renovations, including a complete remodel to the backstage area, AV systems upgrade, wrought iron fencing and gates, new seating, and ADA improvements. The Historic Landscape Subcommittee of the Commission did conduct a courtesy review for the project on October 30th. And some of the comments they had, they understood the need for the fencing and request additional gates on the west side of the amphitheater. The definition of the southern boundary of the amphitheater is positive and would benefit from succession planting for the pines that are currently present there. And they recommended to not remove the grass between the interior and exterior of the fence line. Commissioner Houghton is part of the landscape committee, so he can add anything or answer questions if they come up. But right now, I will turn it over to the applicants.
Okay, so we have Michael Becker. Michael, you're presenting, or?
I think so. Joe, do you have anything else you want to add, or you want me to just jump in?
No, you take the lead.
Okay.
And then
Happy
Nate
to.
is in your office, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Nate Miller, okay.
Yep. So yeah, good afternoon. My name is Michael Becker. I'm an architect and principal with Swam Associates. Joe O'Neill is a project manager with Parks and Rec we've been working with, and Nathaniel's one of the designers in my office that we've been working on this. As Desiree mentioned, this was part of the proposition that passed. So we've been hired to do the design work to enhance the Demeester Outdoor Performance Center. Um, you know, I guess maybe this is a question, Desiree. Why? I guess I want to make sure I understand what the purview of this. I know it's a courtesy review, but what is the intent of the historic review? Because this particular structure is not a historic structure.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring. So, the park is not currently designated, but it has been identified as a potentially significant, historically significant park in the city, by the Historic Landscape Subcommittee. And so, kind of in anticipation of, or as kind of the early planning stages, we're trying to encourage city projects to come before PRS and Historic
Okay.
Landscape Subcommittee for comments. So this is a courtesy review for any comments, noting that, yeah, it may or may not be, eligible. We don't know that yet. But.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. So yeah, I'll just quickly go through the scope of work. I know a couple of you have a hard stop. Let's see. It's confusing. Start with this. So you should see just an aerial of the basically of the park itself. Sorry, everything jumped around as soon as I shared my screen. And so with Reed Park, the primary, our work is really focused just in this area right here. If you can see the circle that I just drew, this is the area of the Demeester Outdoor Performance Center. There's sort of a band shell, back of house space here. This is the kind of audience area. And then there's really a variety of ways that the public enters this. It's primarily from the south and the west. So we'll get into a little more detail on that. Let me switch what I'm sharing here. Okay. So this is our current drawing set. This is the existing site plan. So again, what you're seeing here are this is the building itself of the Demeester Outdoor Performance Center. The stage is on the south side of that. This is the audience area. And then there's an entry plaza on the south side that we're not making really any modifications to. And really the focus of our modifications is on the building itself and then on the audience area, particularly on the back side of the lawn. There's a sort of a hill that rises up from north to south. And on the top of that hill, we're proposing a shade canopy that's going to provide both accessible access to the top of the hill, as well as shade for people that are at that location. So this is the site plan that we currently have. Let me zoom in a little bit on this. There we go. So if we go south to north, there is a parking area to the south. We're making some minor ADA modifications to the parking area. There's an existing ramp that comes up with an existing stair. Currently, it just ends in dirt right about here. So our intent is to continue the concrete and a sloped sidewalk to bring you up to a vantage point at the top of the hill to look down into the kind of bowl of the audience area. And then we'll have a sidewalk extending in both directions that provide accessible access across the top of the hill to a series of shade pavilions where people can sit and watch the performance from this location. On the east side of the site, we're going to put in another ramp that will bring people back down to this area, which is west of the audience or east of the audience area that traditionally is used for food trucks and other vendors. That will continue to be its use, but we wanted accessible access to get there. It also provides accessible access to get all the way to the building itself and to the restroom building. No changes are proposed to the restroom building at this time. Of the major site features and changes to the site that we're doing is this shade canopy and sidewalk and associated ramp. We are proposing a fence that would fence the entire audience area. This really provides a couple of different it's for a couple of reasons. One of them is security. Currently it's just an open field to the rest of the park, so it provides some level of security. It also puts in place the required fencing for a liquor license. We do know that for many of the local events that want to use this space, and would like to have liquor sales or be able to generate revenue, it's cost prohibitive to put in the temporary fencing. So again, in an effort to expand the usage of this and have more frequent usage of this facility, the city's electing to install a fence around just the audience area. This would be a 4-foot fence. It would be primarily transparent, be a mesh material, so would have at least visual impact as possible on the landscape. We originally proposed one gate along this side, and in the landscape subcommittee, they've asked us to add a few more gates. So we're looking at adding potentially two additional gates along this, the kind of western edge. What ends up happening, and if you've been to the Pride Festival, you know that there's a great deal of activity that can happen with the larger events kind of to the northwest of the band shell itself. So in that area, we want to create better connectivity. I also want to note during off hours when there are no events, the intent is that all these gates are locked open. So basically the entire hill and the audience area would be open to the public when there's not an event in place. If you go out there today, you frequently see people kind of sitting out here with their dogs or just enjoying the afternoon. So we certainly don't want to inhibit that. This drawing, let's see, let me zoom back out. This is our landscape plan. The comment about the turf, I want to just make sure we address. So what's happening now is where this concrete sidewalk is going in is really the top of the hill. The whole backside of the hill is fairly densely, has a lot of large mature trees along there. They are the pines, which we're seeing, they're distressed. Eventually, we will start to lose those because of the issues with climate change. So we're putting in some succession plantings that were reviewed by the landscape subcommittee. The turf comment was really this area here. We were looking at turf reduction, and they basically asked us to leave the turf in this area because of that connectivity from the current audience area and up into that northwest lawn. So we are going to make that change to preserve that turf area and add those additional gates along the west facade. The shade canopies themselves, they're a fairly simple sort of cantilever structure. So in this drawing, this half is where the sidewalk would be, so an individual would walk here, and this half is the kind of audience area where someone could, sit and watch a performance. It also offers the opportunity for potentially vendor stalls if there are other events going on. So we see this having multiple uses, really not just as an audience area. But it's a cantilever structure. It has a cable stay that holds the outside edge of the canopy to really preserve and keep that view angle open from the structure down to the stage itself. Let's see. When we get to the actual Demeester, the band shell, so this is the stage area of the band shell itself. The rest of this is all back of house area. We're making some basic upgrades to the back of house on the interior. The major change to the band shell itself is that we're adding another canopy extension along the front. You can see it. Let me actually go to the section. It's easier to see there. So this is the canopy extension. Currently, the band shell proscenium ends right about here, so we're providing about an 8-foot extension. This is really to get additional sound and lighting positions further out in front of the actual performance area, and provide some shade during certain times of the year. So it faces south, so it's a little bit challenging. So the real purpose for the extension of the band shell is, again, for these additional sound and lighting positions, and also just to sort of update the overall appearance of the band shell a little bit. The original structure is from the mid to late 80s, so it is fairly dated at this point. So we're trying to at least give it some upgrades in terms of its visual appearance. But again, if you look at this set of drawings, this would be the elevation of the new structure. It's really just this area here is new. Everything else is an existing part of that structure. There are some openings in the existing band shell that we will hang banners in. We're showing those filled in this drawing, but those would remain open. But frequently, parks will allow the users to hang banners and other things in those locations, so that would continue. Quickly, I can show you a couple other documents. Let's see.
Michael,
Yes.
also mention that the existing art will not be touched
Yes.
as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is an existing public art piece that will remain in place. So this is a photograph of the existing facility as it is today. And what Joe is talking about is, you can see there is a public art piece on the western side of the band shell that will remain in place. These were those two
Not up
openings that I
yet.
was discussing.
Michael, is it not up yet, or is it just me?
I can see it, Terry.
Okay, I got it now. It's just a little bit delayed on my end. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the existing facility. Again, this is that public art piece that will remain in place. No changes to that. And really, the proscenium changes are really restricted just to the opening of the stage. So that extension happens just in the center. So these two wings remain essentially as they are today, in addition to the art piece. We will be touching up the stucco, repairing the block, making some maintenance repairs to the overall facility. Let's see. Let me stop sharing that. And then we have a couple of renderings I'll show you, and it'll pretty much, I think, covers the majority of the scope that we're talking about. Share again. Okay, so you should be able to see a rendering now. And this is really from the top of that canopy. So we're looking west. There's you can see the existing outdoor performance center with the new proscenium extension, and then we're standing underneath that new sort of colonnade that really creates the back side of the bowl of the audience area. And we feel this is really going to make it's going to make it feel more of a formal performance space and a contained performance space than it is today. The fencing is rendered in this image, but you can see it nearly disappears, which is really the intent. You can sort of see it on the left-hand side of this image just a little bit. This would be the view from the stage itself. So you can see the canopy is also, the angle of the canopy is set up so that it really has a light visual impact on the overall hill and on the park. This is straight on to the performance stage. And again, you can see where that canopy extension is, which is really the extent of the work that we're doing. This is more of a dynamic shot to show, in the evening, and then a little clearer shot during the day. So you can really see the kind of geometry of that piece as it sits over the stage. So again, the primary components of this are the extension of the proscenium. It's the fencing, and then it is the colonnade across the top of the hill with the accessibility enhancements that we're talking about to really make this, again, more accessible space, a secure space, so that we can have a wider variety of events, and then providing some enhancements for the AV and lighting for the stage itself. So did I miss anything, Joe?
No, you covered it pretty good. I would just add some of the interior work is bringing the bathrooms up to ADA accessibility and current standards with the restroom and changing room.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other comments that we wanted to share? Because because it's a courtesy review, we don't do a motion. We just provide our comments.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to start. Michael, Joe, I appreciate you guys bringing this to us. This being my first PRS meeting, knowing a project and being able to speak on it makes me look good. So thank you for that. I appreciate that you guys are taking our comments from HLS into consideration because, again, I remember this being a fairly lengthy conversation in that meeting. But just wanting to maintain the the integrity of the views, not just from this site but across the park as a whole, and then making sure that we're maintaining more opportunities for egress and ingress. it sounds like you guys have addressed everything that we brought up, and I appreciate you guys doing that and taking the time to consider that and taking the time to come and present to PRS.
So you're
thank you.
okay with their presentation then, Blake?
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. Andrew or Savannah?
I'll go next. Firstly, when was the Demister built? Do we have?
I think it was mid 80s, is my understanding.
Okay.
There has been a. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say it was built around 83 through 86.
Yeah.
Don't have an exact documentation, and I didn't start working for Parks until 94. So
I will say there was always a band shell there going back even before then. There's no documentation on what that structure was. It was built from, I think, steel that they got from the base. And then the hill itself, our documentation shows the hill was built up with the fill dirt that they got from the U of A from digging the basements over at the U of A. So it's it has a long history. But we don't have any real documentation of the previous band shell structure or anything else that was on the site. So,
Don't know the architect or the builder.
For the current building or the previous building?
The current building.
Yes, I do know that, but I'll have to find it real quick. So, but go ahead with the other comments while I pull that up.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if there is a chance it would be potentially eligible structure, because I think it has to be evaluated as part of the park's improvement projects, right? And that's from what I understand the process. It has to go through that evaluation for potential eligibility.
Sure.
Is there a chance that it would be considered, even though it's a more recent structure?
Savannah, what I found, it's not super clear, but it's from the Pima County Library. They said in 74, the city redeveloped the band shell into a performance center that could accommodate an orchestra, a large lawn, and 7,000 seats. I'm not clear if that's exactly the building we have today, but then it goes on to say that in 87, it was named Demister after George's Demister because he died in 73. So it may be 74 and it wasn't named until 87.
It's in the 80s. I do have the construction documents. Give me just a second here.
Okay.
Are those the ones?
Thanks for your additional research, Andrew. I can always count on you.
So it was CNWC was the architect.
Oh, okay.
Here, let me share this. Because we do have the original construction documents.
And it was has it been changed much? I mean, actually,
no, that's there. You can see it right there.
We did a project there like maybe 10 years ago. It just extending the stage out a little bit, but it's basically what it was
basically the same building. So these drawings are dated 83 or 85, I think. Zoom in on that.
I mean, I asked because I know it'll go through this process, and we're looking from a preservation perspective. I mean, it has such a monumentality to it, right? That frame, that thick wall, the proscenium, and then the openings are very consistent with the kind of frame or free-flying portion of the wall has a nice proportion that's consistent. I just feel like the canopy loses that. I feel like the part that comes out, it conceals, it even goes higher and it conceals, and you lose that kind of proportion and continuity across the proscenium. So, I mean, I guess it just kind of depends on, do we want to preserve and maintain the original design intent, or is it not potentially eligible and we don't need to worry about it as much? I don't know where we fall in there, but I think it's not preserving the original design intent the way
it's changing it a little bit, but some of that is because it's not terribly functional the way it is. Those lighting positions from the catwalk are much too far back, so you're basically lighting people's heads. So, and particularly with your project where the stage was extended, the intent now is to extend the proscenium so that we can get the lighting far enough out to be able to actually be more functional. And then
you can't do that within the opening of the stage itself? It's too low?
Um, well, it's also to preserve the acoustic clarity of it. So, yeah, the let me share this image again.
Well, also, Michael, there's an opening between the front
Right.
facade and the back of the stage, and we want to seal that up with the extended roof so the sound quality isn't bleeding off into the neighborhoods and it's more projected out to the audience.
Yeah. And these, the angle of the surfaces is in alignment with the existing angle of the acoustic baffles, which is all intended to help project that sound further out into the audience area. And then we're also raising those lighting positions and pushing them out far enough to be able to light the stage. So if we were to bring all of this down within the opening of the existing proscenium, it starts to drop that overall opening lower than would be ideal for both the lighting and the acoustic performance of the shell itself.
Okay, yeah,
But it's a
understood.
good point. No, I understand your concern though. And we went back and forth on ways to do this, and it felt like creating this very clear armature that then would do what we needed to do while leaving the building pretty much intact seemed to be a good compromise between those two things.
Okay, yeah. What else did I have? The landscape committee suggestions, I agree with all those. I appreciate all those. The freestanding canopies also I thought looked great. Oh, my last question is so you have all this accessibility to the food trucks. Does that get all the way incorporated so that people could get onto the stage in an accessible way? Or okay, is it kind of like a back ramp back there somewhere? Or
Yeah, you'd have to go around the back of the facility,
okay,
and then
all
brings
right.
you up onto the stage. Yeah.
That's what I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah.
Before I call on Andrew, I just want to mention that a couple people have referred to the landscape committee. It's the historic landscape subcommittee, not to get confused with anything else, so yeah, and they do a lot of reviews for us on things, landscape aspects in parks. So okay, Andrew, I think you are the one we need to hear from.
Sure. Yeah. I have lots of thoughts on it. This park is near and dear to me. The I First off, I love all the improvements you're making up on the top of the hill. I think that's fantastic. That'll do so much to give it kind of like a real entrance too, which it's really lacking right now. So that's great. The need for the fencing is totally understood. I know it's a huge burden, and a lot of groups simply just can't pay to do all the temp fencing. So I think that'll really make it a much more accessible space to groups with less funding. So that's awesome. I agree with the comments from HLS on, the addition of more gates though, and more openness. I'm happy to hear that the gates are going to be locked open, during non-ticketed events. That's one of the great parts of that landscape right now is that it's contiguous with the park and it's a great like picnic spot and everything. So keeping that as free flowing as we can with the greater context of the park um, would be great. So I appreciate all that. My comment on the proscenium is in line with Savannah's basically. The I I mean, it's an 80s building, so I don't say this a lot, but I actually really like it. It has this, I think it's a great massing of like this thickened wall in front with these punched openings, and it has a really clear datum across the top that all the heights of all those openings are the same, so that upper level has a really strong like horizontality to it. And that'd be my preference is if there's any way to make a extension work that sits under that opening and projects out, and maybe is a bit more like rectilinear in shape. Is the trapezoidal shape. I get that it's kind of following the pitch of the roof there, But in terms of like the outside massing of the building, it's very rectilinear. It's like stepping series of cubes. So that
Mhm.
um, at least the the trapezoid just kind of throws me off on the outside anyway. But
Mm.
I get it from an acoustic perspective. So that'd be my biggest comment. If we can find a way to kind of preserve that datum and preserve how that front wall reads as this really thick mass with punched openings, um, I think that'd be great. If the new structure does need to climb over top, maybe it can be kind of a lighter, more ephemeral thing with like
Mhm.
some perforated rain screen or something that has some transparency to it, or I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's
that,
it's funny. We have a lot of competing
yeah.
competing requirements because like the lighting devices we want to put up permanently,
Mm,
which need to be sheltered. Because we did consider making the whole thing more transparent in terms of making it, whether it's perforated or screening materials, but then we still need to provide some protection for those lighting apparatuses. Because one of the cost savings measures we're trying to do is keep those devices in place, so that reduces staff time to set up the lighting and things like that. So it's this kind of constant, trying to balance kind of what we need to be a successful performance venue, but then also create a good piece of architecture. So, I totally understand what you're both saying in terms of the mass of that front wall, and I'd agree. As far as '80s buildings go, this one's not too bad.
mhm.
Yeah, I've always said, when a lot of the mediocre postmodern stuff starts getting to be 50 years old, I'm going to have a hard time. But this
Yeah.
building, it's not has a good overall design and intent to it from the beginning.
Mhm.
It's just lacking in its ability to provide to really be the best sort of performance venue that it could be. So that's how this sort of form and this shape evolved. But I understand what you're saying. Those pieces, those trapezoidal pieces on the side, have been something that we've been sort of ruminating on for some time. How does that really express itself? So I will
Yeah.
certainly take these comments into consideration and see if there's something we can do to let the original building kind of shine through a little bit more.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming to us when,
Mhm.
as a courtesy review. And I'm just very excited. There's improvements going in here and have better sound, better lighting, better accessibility, all of it. It's going to be awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, the intent is that it gets used more. We want to see this thing really ramp up in its usage because it's a great facility. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for your comments. And I think we can just say that collectively, that's how we feel about the project and
Okay.
positively support it. And Desiree, hopefully you will list some of those items, detail some of the items in the legal action report. But also, Michael and Joe, there'll be a YouTube recording if you want to listen to any of this in more depth again. So, well, thank you very much and good luck with the project. And we,
Yeah.
this is great.
Great. Yeah. And thank you. Yeah. It's nice to see everybody. So have
Yeah,
a
nice to
great
see
Good
you
to
afternoon.
see
too.
you. Appreciate the
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a few minutes left to wrap up. So we've got item 7, current issues for information discussion. Do we have for 7A a discussion on minor reviews? Is that you, Michael and Desiree, or who?
Yeah, it'll be me and Jason.
Okay.
So I will start off. For minor reviews in West University, we have looked at 731 East 4th Street for roof shingles. We have looked at 112 East First Street for solar installation. We have looked at 318 East Speedway for solar installation. And we have looked at 800 East Speedway for a sign. In Emery Park, we have looked at 460 South Fifth for front yard fence. These are the minor reviews that I've done in West University and Henry Park since we met the last time. There are a couple of them which I am working on them, but I will list them in our next review. And we continue to be thankful to Andrew for being our point person for some of these reviews. And we're very grateful for the comments that he routinely sends to us when it really needs those comments. Thank you, Andrew. And then I will turn over to my colleague Jason for any other minor reviews that he has done.
Thank you, Michael. So there are 2 minor reviews in Fort Lowell. One has been completed. That was for a solar device installation at 5425 East Fort Lowell Road. There's one that is in the final stages of being completed, and this is a landscaping fencing at 5440 East Presidio Road. And that's all the minor reviews I have at this point.
Great, thank you. Any questions? And also thank you, Andrew, for stepping up for these. I really appreciate it. When we get Blake trained up, we'll have to make him do a few of these.
Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so item 7B is appeals.
We have
We
no
do not-
appeals.
We don't have
None?
any.
Yeah.
Yay, okay. 7C, zoning violations.
As you see, one of the cases came before you today. I have one that is just finishing up in West University that should be coming up to you sometimes in January. I am currently working on another zoning violation at 215 East University for a roof shingle. And we have a big one which is pending at 145 East University for the property owner who was told not to put corrugated metal roof on the property, and he proceeded to put it on. So the corrugated metal roof is already on. We are looking at how we're going to tackle that. It's probably going to end up in front of you anyway. So those are the 2 that are pending right now that we know. Other than that, Rick Sadate, who used to be our person to go out and talk to property owners on some of these violations, has officially retired from the city. So we do not yet have anybody who will be our liaison between our office and code enforcement. Fortunately, the code enforcement department is now hosted by is now linked or part of PDSD. So I think we would now be able to better coordinate with the code enforcement staff because we're all in one department now. That's all I can say for zoning violations going on.
Great, thank
And
you.
we do have, there has been a new staff member identified to take Rick's place. And I think there are also a couple zoning violations in Fort Lowell. I don't know if Jason, if you wanted to share anything. There's a 5440 East Presidio. Right.
Right. And that code violation is, as I mentioned, it's still under minor review. We're finishing up segment of the review process, and then the decision letter will be issued out probably very soon.
Okay. And then there's another one. It's it will be coming before you. It's a full review. Don't remember the top of my head. It's on Fort Lowell Road.
5425 East Fort Lowell Road.
Yes, thank you.
And that is going to be more extensive because of the overall cumulative effect that they have done.
Oh my, okay. All right, well, thank you for that. And item 7D is review process issues. And like in this section, we just bring up any things that we want to discuss on the review process. So staff or members, do you have anything to bring up?
No, not really. On the code violation cases, this one today was pretty cut and dry. But if there's like any documentation from those, I know sometimes CE uploads like photos or whatever. that would be helpful. This one was simple enough, but if there's any like really complicated ones, that'd be great. And so we
Mhm.
don't have to go through PRO or something to pull them. But
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I do appreciate that you're identifying when they're code enforcement cases, because that's been like pulling teeth to get that on the agenda. And it's really helpful. So
Seems to be in the project number now, right? Too, like
yeah,
the
yeah. But still, those project
BIO.
numbers are a mouthful. Yeah. Okay, any other issues? Okay, if not, thank you. Item 8 is future agenda items for upcoming meetings. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for January 8th, 2026. I wanted to mention that I have a meeting that I'm in Detroit, and I'm in charge of an event that runs, well, it's 2 hours later in Detroit, because it's on Eastern time. So I can join the first part of the meeting, depends on how long it is, but I'm going to need someone to take over if I have to jump, because I'm literally the welcomer at this event, so I have to be there. Anyway, what do we look like, Desiree, for the 8th?
So we'll have the continued City Hall landmark designation case. And other than that, we'll probably have a few, looks like there will be a few like just regular, full reviews, design reviews. I'm not sure how many that we'll have at this point.
But you'll run the agenda by me and stuff. And,
Yes.
I think we got through several cases in the courtesy review, and it wasn't horrible, right? I mean, we're finishing before. And by the way, Joel had informed us that he had to be off by that time. So is everybody available for the 8th, pretty much?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, that's really helpful. All right, and
I have a quick question. Desiree, you mentioned the All Saints, they're going to keep that garage. Are they coming back to us at some point? I mean, I'm probably when things are more developed.
So they will come back for the cases that require PRS review. 375 South Stone, because it was taken out of the HPZ, doesn't require PRS review as part of the formal process. They are still in their continuing consultation period. So I think PRS would have had to indicate that they wanted to be a consulting party, to continue through that consultation piece. So for that specific parcel, I don't think that it would come back to PRS. But for all of the others that are within the HPC, they'll come back as part of the formal review once they submit. And they haven't submitted yet. They have submitted for the 375 South Stone, but they'll be resubmitting because they made that change. If that makes
Understood.
sense.
So
Yeah, thanks.
that was the one that we had a concern about, right? That garage?
Yes,
Savannah?
PRS mentioned
Yeah,
that.
and it would have been helpful to know that we could be a consulting party and that they were trying to basically get out of dealing with that building like we asked. So that would have been helpful to know.
Yeah. I'm learning this process as well.
No, I know,
so,
it's rhetorical.
yeah.
I'm saying,
Right.
because that's a lot of unhappy people in general about that project, right?
Yes. Armory Park will be a party that's a consulting party still. So they will be providing, I think they'll be participating in that continuing consultation meeting that's scheduled for January.
Is that Armory Park? John, are you going to be there? John Burzon? Or is just lurking?
No, I'm here. We made a formal request to be a consultation for the neighborhood association and an event in addition to the advisory board. I know the dates of the meeting, the tentative dates of the meetings in January for consultations, but because that is not being handled by the city, but it is being handled by their private contractors, they're not following a Section 106 process that I'm familiar with, and nothing has been shown or shared, to my knowledge.
Well, maybe you could share our concern when you do attend that, about the garage and stuff, because you were on the meeting where we talked about that, right?
Yes, and actually for 375, you probably will have a courtesy review, or should, because it is entirely surrounded by historic properties. So when that goes, it will also go to the infill incentive district, and they will want your feedback. This design review committee for 375. The properties touch. So
Yeah, that's true. If you all want to request a courtesy review for that, it just wouldn't be a formal review as part of the,
Yeah.
it's not in the HPC, but you could request a courtesy review.
But you should have a courtesy review because any redesign of 375 does need to be historically compatible with Armory Park guidelines, which you all are familiar with.
Okay, thank you, John, for that
Sure.
helpful info.
375 is the parcel that has the zoning ordinance requiring compatibility, right, Desiree?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And so so the ordinance, it was rezoned and there was, an original building that was approved that was 5 stories. I don't remember the exact height. So the compatibility comment refers more so to the exterior features, so materials, like fenestration patterns, like architectural details. So yeah, a courtesy review from PRS would be really great for that. But again, it would be focused more on those exterior design features.
Okay, well,
Okay.
just give us our parameters and
Mhm.
whatever we need to do,
Mhm.
when we're there.
I don't know if it's relevant right now, Terry, but that is a review that I would have to recuse myself from.
It's good to know. It's good always to mention.
I'm the
that
landscape designer for that specific part of the All Saints project. But I
Okay.
just handled the landscape stuff. So
Yeah, and the way we deal with, basically you could still come to a meeting and we could arrange if we knew, since we know, we could
Yeah.
move things around, right? So that
Yeah.
you could be on and until that time and leave or whatever, right? We do that for Savannah occasionally and for Andrew. Less often for me or Joel.
Yeah.
But thank you. Okay, anything else, Desiree?
Nope,
Other
that's all I have.
And when do you think you might have the LAR? Just curious.
Should have that hopefully today. I've been taking notes along.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
Well, I'll watch for it, and I might
Okay.
still not get it back to you till the weekend because, yeah, it's crazy. So, but anyway, thanks everyone. I hope you have good holiday season, and so we only have one meeting this month. That is crazy. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Enjoy.
yeah, are we caught up pretty much on things, or I mean, things are going to be coming in?
We're caught up. Yeah, I think we're in a very good place. There have been multiple reviews at the historic advisory boards. So there are projects coming that will be coming, your way.
That's
But
good.
we're not we don't have a queue that's kind of been backing up for PRS. So we're gonna
No,
take a
I
spot.
appreciate that. And
Mhm.
so anyway, thanks everyone very much. Again, Blake, we're thrilled to have you as part of the group.
Happy to be here.
And
Thanks, Terry.
Everyone's help, and we'll see you guys after the new year. And maybe I can actually be on my camera. All right.
We look forward to seeing you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yes.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.